You can't hear me or what?
Good to go now.
Yeah, okay, we're good. We're good to go now. Did any of my intro get on?
Okay.
Okay, so I did an intro, and technology being what it was, I'm going to do it again.
Yes, please do.
So Klaus Dalby, as you said, is just amazing and miraculous that you can be there in your Denmark garden, and I can be here in my Oklahoma City home, and the two of us can visit as old friends and share gardening information and gardening wisdom and find out about each other's books.
It's amazing. And Linda, you know, I want to say thank you so much, because it's because of you that I have now published a book in English. Because for about maybe 1.5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, you have told me about your book, and I have told you that I'm desperate looking for a publisher, and you were so kind to introduce me to your publisher. So, and if you haven't done that, I'm not sure that I would have had a book in English. So thank you so much.
Well, okay, can you guys, I'm just going to ask a question now. Can you guys hear me out there? Yeah, just somebody give me a comment and let me know if you can hear us. So, yes, so Klaus, you reached out to me because someone had actually, our publisher, Cool Springs Press, they reached out to me during COVID and asked if I would write a book, because I, unlike you, had not already been published. How many books did you already have on the market?
Around 30. Some of them, I have written around 30 books about flowers and gardens, and some of them is not in print anymore. And next year, my book about cottage gardens will be published by Cool Springs. So it's such an honor, and I'm so pleased.
Well, I had some of your books, and I've got them in Danish. And I think I had asked you, Klaus, do you have anything in English? And maybe that's how our conversation got started. But I told our mutual editor that absolutely you were a gem, and they had to publish your works because.
Yes, but you're so kind. But you know, also it's very, as you know, in life it's always important to reach the right people, and sometimes it's just a chance that you meet them. And yes, I'm so pleased, and also because of the social medias, it's amazing. It's you know, I was starting at YouTube for yes, it was in May last year, and I'm not very active because it's so difficult for me to find the time. But I think it's such a treat to be on YouTube too. So yes, it's a pleasure, and I think it's the same with you. We like to share our gardens. We like to share our knowledge with people.
Yes, and it's important now, especially because we gardeners are living vicariously through you, because you were asking me as soon as we signed on what our weather was here. Yes. And it has been astronomically hot here. Okay. So we have been, for you, what would be around 41 degrees Celsius.
Okay. I'm so amazed that you can, because I'm not very good with Fahrenheit. So this is amazing that you can also tell how it will be in Celsius. Oh, 41, it's really a lot. It's very hot. And what about, Linda, what about rain? Have you got rain?
We actually got a little bit of rain the other night. It popped up out of nowhere, one of our kind of typical southern thunderstorms, and we were so happy to have it. But prior to that, we probably hadn't had any rain in 2 months, and I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't have any rain now for another 2 months until fall. So that's why it's so important that you keep pumping out those beautiful pictures that you put on Instagram. And by the way, you guys out there in YouTube land, if you are not following Klaus on Instagram, you absolutely must. Now, I warn you, it might make you feel a little bit bad. Because his stuff is so amazingly beautiful right now.
Yes, but you know, I'm also very lucky to live in a part of the world where today it had been around, let's say, 22 degrees and nice. The yesterday and the day before it was a little bit stormy, but when we say storm, it's nothing compared to you. And it had also been a little bit dry, but it's a part of the world where it's fairly easy to garden. So that's yes, it's sort of such a privilege. But I think you have also been to England and seen the gardens there.
Well, yes, and I think one of the things that I try to convey in my book, and one of the things that you are so instructive in your book, is we try to make gardening accessible to people and make information available to people, no matter what conditions they garden in, whether it's a climate like mine or a climate like yours. I think we just want everyone to know that gardening beauty is just, it's important, and we can make it happen. We just have to do it in our respective ways based on where we garden.
Yes, and we are both gardening in containers, in pots, and of course the plants need a lot of water, but you can water them, and it's for me it's a quite easy way of gardening.
Well, I want to show your book, because, and by the way, you guys out in YouTube land, let me see, here we go. We're going to be giving a copy away to YouTube insiders or members. We're going to be giving a copy of Klaus's book away. And what I love about your book is it is just, well, it's just filled with gorgeous images. But then you break it down and you tell us how you do it. Look at this image on the screen here with this explosion of spring color. This is just magnificent.
Yes, it's I just love to work with all kind of colors. I'm working with what you would call monochrome colors, tone in tone, but also this kind of colors where it's more crashy, as you can say. It makes it it's so interesting for me to combine the colors. And just now the dahlias, they're starting to flower. What about in your place, Linda, with the dahlias?
Well, right now it's just so hot that very little is in bloom. There might be some annuals that are still spitting out blooms, but once it gets to be, for here, about 95 degrees Fahrenheit and above, it's hard for things to get pollinated and for them to keep putting out blooms. At that point, they're just conserving their energy to survive. But let's look at a few more of your pictures if we can, because I love, for example, in this first slide where you're holding this gorgeous pot of orange tulips. And one of the things that you stress, which is, I think, invaluable, and I've been saying it for a long time, and that is the way and the technique you use of putting just one plant type in each pot, and then kind of orchestrating a beautiful color combination based on whatever your source of inspiration is. And you just repeat that combination in whatever your vignette area is. And the results are just spectacular.
Yes, I find it much easier just to have one variety in each pot. Maybe not small pots, but smaller pots. You can also make beautiful arrangements in very big pots with different varieties, but it's a little bit more difficult because something will be in bloom and other things will not. And here you can see I'm also planting very much in the height, and here you see one of the greenhouses. And this is a more romantic color scheme where I have the soft pink colors and also the gray foliage.
So you've got these different color schemes in different areas of your garden.
Yes.
So can you describe to us a little bit about the size and scale of your garden and how it kind of fits together?
Yes, I have no lawns in the garden, and if I say that my garden is about 4,000 square meters, can you translate that in what would you say in the States if we say
Yeah,
4,000 square meters.
we'll get Stuart on it to make a conversion.
Yes, please do.
But
And I have around 15 garden rooms. I started with the garden here for about 20, yes, it was 27 years ago. And at that time, I didn't know about gardening at all. We had bought the house. I was saying I would like to make a garden here, and then I just started. And at that time, it was before the internet. We would never have met each other if we haven't the internet, and before the social medias. So I was just reading in the books. And I have always been interested in home decoration, insides and colors and design. But then I recognized that I could also do a little bit as the same outside, because I'm not a plant collector. Of course, I love the plants, but for me, it's about how to create a spirit in the garden, the different rooms. And I have, this is one of my greenhouses. I have 3 greenhouses, and this is a wooden greenhouse, and it's such a pleasure to have these working spaces too.
yeah, and I think we share so much in common. One of them being, I am not a plant collector either. We both, I think, are very intent on just creating beautiful garden compositions and beautiful garden orchestrations. And the way you use tone on tone is just breathtaking to me, where you will, if, in your book, you talk about looking at one bloom for inspiration, and then developing a whole color palette and color planting container scheme based on that, and the color echoes that started out in that very singular bloom. It's just amazing.
Yes, because I also, when we are talking about variegated leaf or foliage, it can be very distinctive, but it can also be a bit messy if you are not using it, as I say, in the right way. It can be difficult to say what is the right way, but also that the foliage, the colors in the foliage needs to be an echo of the flowers you see. And I'm also, as you do, I can see in and thank you for your book. It's amazing that we was published at the same time. You're also using a lot of greens, the different colors and green and textures. I'm looking very much yes, about the textures and the forms of the leaves, and small flowers and big flowers and high and low. It's such a pleasure.
Well, and the other thing, and this image that we've got up on the screen here is a perfect example of how effectively you use layering. And just the way you have plants that go up and down, they just run up and down the steps. So there's this wonderful layering, and you have greenery at all of these different heights. It creates verticality, but it draws your eye up to the garden bench. And there's just this beautiful rhythm and repetition of, in this case, this wonderful kind of lilac-y pink. And then it is just so effectively enhanced with all of these different shades of green and textures of green. And it just consumes you and surrounds you so beautifully.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I think for me, repetition it's really a key word also in the borders, because it makes the things, it much easier to make a nice display, to make a nice design, because maybe that just one variety of flower in one variety of plants in flower, but if you have it in different places, and also when we are talking about the colors, you can see this is just the working space you see in the greenhouse with the plant tables, but when you see this petunias, it reflects the same colors as you see outside at the sitting place there.
Yeah, it really is unbelievable, like right here. And here you've got again, it's this wonderful effective use of foliage, because look at all of the gray foliage that you have here, which is a color in my book in its own right, and the different leaf forms and the air. And not only that, there's this in this vignette here, there's such an airy quality to it that's what I think communicates romance.
Thank you. And also, I would say you are talking about the height. I really, as you also do, I think that the climbing plants, they're very important. First of all, they don't take space. If you have a pot and if you have a border, maybe you have just a very little garden. But I think it's so important to use these climbing plants, and also plant in the height. You can see, if you look through the greenhouse, you can see that I have the steps, but at this place I have also used small tables, and so I have planted in layers.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I think sometimes you just really have to think, where would I like to have color and how can I get it there? And that's when you decide, oh, a small table might be very effective. And it doesn't even always have to be a really beautiful table, because most of the time the legs of it are going to be obscured with all of this foliage that is underneath. And just like sometimes in the garden beds, you might want to hide the ugly legs of a gangly rose or something like that. You know, you can also hide the legs of a piece of furniture that is very simple, that you might not want to showcase. But just look at all of the different gradients of this lilac-y pink you have in there.
Thank you.
It is so cohesive. So one thing that I find people struggle with a lot, and that I continue to struggle with, and I'm always trying to answer this question: how can I get this degree of interest and textural complexity and these different kinds of flowers and containers, and how do you do it without making it look cluttered? And give us your tips on that. Besides just rhythm and repetition, what other kind of tips could you share with us?
Yes, but I would say that I would say foliage makes you can say quietness, you can say silence, and I think that sometimes it can be a little bit too much with just flowers. But for me, it's like making food. It's you have something of this and something of that, and you just put it together. And once again, it's so much. It's much easier when you have the plants in pots, because you can just move them around. But I think it's a little bit. It's a little bit difficult to explain what people should do. I think that you should really try and just see if it works for you. I think it's great. But in the book, of course, I'm also showing hundreds of pictures, and all the plants they are named. And you were showing the front cover for a moment ago, and on the front cover you can see, maybe if you show it again, I can also show it here. We were having, oh, what is happening now? Yes, here we have the book. If you see, yes, I know about that. I always do that. But you can see the limey foliage. This is euphorbia, and I think that greenish flowers and limey foliage, it's always very interesting. But if I show a picture like this, so many people ask about what are they, green flowers? But today, what I normally do when I post pictures, for example on Instagram, I write the names, also because it's the algorithm really love it if people who are looking at your pictures, they save them. It means so much for the algorithm today that people save your pictures. So I think, as you do also in your videos and on your social medias, it's so important to share knowledge. And I think that people, they are very interested in plant names.
Mhm. I would agree. And the other thing that I find sometimes that I have to do is if I'm looking at one of your compositions and I'm trying to kind of deconstruct it,
Mm.
that knowing the plant names is helpful, but also I can just look at the color palette and say, well, I can't grow what you can grow in your
No,
climate,
no.
but I can put an Oklahoma twang on it and
Yes, you really can.
get the same results by using different kinds of plants in the same tonal quality.
Yes.
And so I could replicate this look and create the same kind of emotion, because all of your different plant combinations, Klaus, really communicate a different kind of
Mm.
emotional message. And I could copy that emotional message with different plants. And
Mm.
I just love the way each different combination of containers that you put together really exhibits a different feeling and evokes a different feeling in the garden viewer.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I think it's yes, because you have also plants which I think, oh, I would love to grow these. So you're right that you have beautiful plants with silver foliage,
Yes.
and yes, you are right. And I think that we also need to. I don't want to. For example, if we say if we have for example agapanthus. When I go to gardens here where they have very much of sun, they have the most beautiful agapanthus. But the problem is here in the garden, it's not shaded, but it's great. But with agapanthus, I can't really grow them. It haven't as it's because I don't have sun enough. And then I say, okay, then I don't grow these, but then I find I just find other plants. And I think it's so important also when you are looking at a recipe and say, oh, maybe I don't have this cabbage. Maybe I have written 2 cooking books, and I say to people, for example, I just love in the season asparagus, which is in May and June here. But then I say, if you are in the summertime, then you can just use beans. And it's and I think it's the same with cooking. And it's take what you have. Take what you have.
And the other analogy that you started to make earlier, which I loved, in the use of green and grays and just foliage, is it can be a palette cleanser in between kind of all of the different flavors and colors and everything that you have in the garden. It kind of gives your eye a rest in between.
Yes. Could I ask you when I have seen your beautiful tulip displays? When is the tulips flowering in Oklahoma?
Yes. So for us, tulips, we probably don't have as long a bloom time as you have there, but we will be planting them here in the fall. For me,
Yes.
in November, and then they will start coming up in March, and they will begin to peak about the first week in April. And
Yes.
what I love about the tulip show, as we call it, is it just kind of unfolds. The early tulips come, and then the mid to late tulips come, and the color palette changes as the tulips come and go. And then other members of the parties show up, the emerging perennials and the hostas and the self-seeders, and it changes over time. And the brilliance of how you create whole gardens with nothing but containers is that yours can always look fresh, because you can remove a pot of tulips that's spent and replace it with another pot of tulips that's at its prime. And you can constantly keep it looking fresh and new and interesting. And I love that, because container gardens give you a flexibility that no other kind of garden can.
Yes. And yes, but of course I also have maybe 3,000 as a maybe 2,500 square meters is borders here. So I also have many borders. But so I grow tulips and daffodils in both borders and in in containers. And just now I'm planning the displays for next year, and I'm also making the spring displays, but we have a Tivoli Park, an old Tivoli Park here in our city, where I'm planting all the spring bulbs. And last year we have planted around 100,000 spring bulbs, and it's such a pleasure for me to have this playground. And yes, we just love tulips, and I would say it's probably the same time. Yes, see this picture. And also you have the most beautiful house, and I'm also very pleased to have a house which fits with the garden. And I think also that you think that you know that you're very privileged to have this beautiful house in the background. Yes, this is outside my gates.
That is one of my favorite color combos.
Oh, thank you. Yes, and you can see when you see the daffodils, and you can see that I have the apricot colors in the middle of the daffodils, and then I also have so many people ask me about the small flowers. This is forget-me-nots, which I have in containers, and then I have different shades of apricot here, and you can probably see that I also have heuchera, and I have viola cornutus, and this is outside the gate. I was asked from one of my followers from the States. She had asked me, do you live in a gated community? But I don't. This is just outside my gates. It's if I say it's on the street, yes, it is on the street, but we are living at, can you say, a blind way, where you can't, yes, you can drive to the end, and then we have the forest. So you can see here this picture, we have the forest we can walk into the forest from the garden.
The setting is absolutely magnificent. I mean, the setting is breathtaking.
Yes, it's amazing, and it's such a beautiful area to live in. And I can also tell you that we are living so near to the water, so we can oversee the water from the garden. Just a glimpse, but if we go to the first or second floor in the house, we have the overview. We are living at the east coast, in Jutland. And Jutland here in Denmark, this is the mainland. If you go from Germany to Denmark, you go to the mainland, and then you go to the north, and the north is very, very famous for the painters, the city Skagen. And if you would like to go to Norway, you need to take the boat to go to Norway. But we are living in Jutland, the mainland, at the east coast, in Aarhus, which is the next biggest town in Denmark. So it means also that we are in a quite mild area.
Yes, well, you certainly are very fortunate to have both beautiful gardens under cultivation and surrounded by absolutely gorgeous natural beauty.
Yes, and it means so much. And then you can also see here the hedges. The hedges means so much to my garden.
Are those is that you, or what's
yes, the inner hedges, this is you, and around the greenhouse this is beech.
So how long? This is probably how long have you gardened at this property?
27 years.
27 years. So I have been here in my own home for about 32 years, and the scale of yours is just breathtaking to me. Did it evolve over time? And how did one room get added in relative?
Yes, I had worked with two amazing landscapers, and they have been so important, and it have been great because I have had such so amazing conversations with them, and I would say that yes, we have opened up and added two new rooms during let's say the last 5 or 6 years, because I think also that you can see in your garden when it's getting older, the plants, they're getting bigger, and the trees and things. And some I think also you also need to look at the garden and say, maybe we should make some more, what you could say, more spacey rooms. So we have taken some of the borders away and make the places where I could have even more containers.
Well, more containers, and you've got so many charming seating areas. I want to go through this one and what it may be one of my, let me see here if I can find it, Klaus.
Yes.
This seating area speaks to me on so many different levels because it has a beautiful town garden feel to it, which is kind of what I consider my garden to be, as a town garden. You feel as if you are just in this beautiful garden room. It's so intimate. It's got my favorite color combination of this chartreuse and lavenders and purples. And because of the way you have this sense of, well, you have a sense of almost being at the bottom of a bowl of beauty, and you're sitting at the bottom.
Thank
and
you.
it's just lovely. And yet this is a space, if I look at it, could be created on a larger or small scale.
Yes, it could. It could just be a little courtyard. And what I think it's also quite important, it's you can see it's the umbrella form trees, Carpinus betulus, and these are from the Netherlands, from Holland. And I think they're quite Dutch. Do you use them in the States, these kind of trees?
Not a whole lot. I think one of the greatest challenges we have is that our repertoire of plants doesn't seem to me that it's as broad as it used to be, because we have such extremes. We get such extreme cold and then such extreme heat.
Okay.
So, and we have lots of pretty epic weather events, horrific ice storms. I had a hedge that was here when I moved in that was probably 60 years old. And last February, we had an Arctic front that came through and killed it. So we're
how cold can it be in the winter times?
Well, let's see. So Stuart, you can convert this. It was minus 18 degrees Fahrenheit. So what is that in Celsius?
We are just waiting, and I'm a bit curious to hear about that, because it's
-7 Celsius.
-7 Celsius.
Oh, wait, 18. -18 Fahrenheit?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on just a second.
-27?
-27?
27. Okay, that's really a lot. It's really a lot.
It was. And then we have just have unbelievable temperature shifts. So it can be 80 degrees warmer one day than it was the day before.
Okay. No, that's really, yes. I can say that we can have minus 20 degrees, but it was mainly for years and years ago. We can have it for some days, but no, as I have said, I'm very privileged in the part I lived here. But these trees, they are not very common in Scandinavia. They're very Dutch. You see them very much
Can you Klaus, share that name with us again?
Carpinus betulus. Do you say Carpinus betulus?
Yeah. Can you type it into the comment box? I don't know if you can or not.
No, I don't think.
But again, I can look at this picture, and this is a picture that I have saved of yours.
Yes, but you also have it in my book.
Well, it's got a big bookmark on it. And
yes,
what I love about it is that, so I may not be able to copy the plant material, but I can copy the composition and the shape and form. And as you know, I am a nut about topiary.
Yes, I know that.
And so I look at that, and I love how elegant it is, but there is a touch of whimsy to it also.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some of
Yeah.
my very mine pale in comparison to
Yes.
pale in comparison. Yeah, get
No,
that
but
on
I'm so
screen, Stuart. Get
pleased
that on
that
the
you're
screen.
showing some of
Yeah.
your pictures.
Yeah,
But
it's just love. You know, it's just lovely, and it feels so welcoming. That's the other
oh,
thing.
thank you. I have so many sitting places but to be honest, I don't sit on all of them, but I don't have the time. But I think they're very important to my garden to have all these spaces. I don't remember if you have got a picture of what I called the sunken garden, which is in the background, which is a white garden. But there I also have.
Here.
No,
On a slide, but that's another reason you guys need to get Klaus's, well, not just this container gardening book, but your other books as well. Even if you can't read the text, you can certainly just love.
Yes. But this picture will you can see in the book. But as you can probably see, I like to create the rooms, and here it's so important with the do you also say limey foliage, or do you say chartreuse, or what would
yes, limey foliage, or I use the term chartreuse.
Chartreuse,
yes. I love the golden foliage, and it helps kind of illuminate the garden. Let me kind of scroll through here. I want to make sure that
this is the main garden. Yes.
This is just lovely. And it's all quiet whites and greens, and it's just soothing.
Yes, but it's also it's a little bit easier. You know that when you are in the own garden to take the right pictures. I've been traveling around Europe to take pictures for my books, and I have been starting 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's this is the evening lights, but this is Allium Mount Everest, the white ones, which is a great variety. But also here you can see the hedges, how much they mean to the garden,
and it just looks so romantic. And so what I love is how you've got these tightly clipped hedges, and then this is just all loose and bountiful and almost has a wildflower garden look to it. And the flower heads of the Mount Everest allium just really bring out the tonal whites in your home and draws your eye up to the magnificent exterior of your house. It's just...
You're very kind. You're very kind. Yes. But I love to, as I've said, I also love to work with the shapes, which I find quite important.
Yeah, I think here in the South, when it gets so hot, this time of year, it's so important to have lots of texture and shape and line and form, because there's not a lot of color, and we have to get our interest somewhere. But even though right now my front garden is nothing like yours, it nevertheless, I think, is very beautiful in a calming way with all of the greens and again, the different layering, different layering elements that you have. It's just...
I can show the website on the screen.
Oh, okay. Oh, Stuart just said he can show your website on the screen.
Okay. Yes, you know, I have... Oh, it's amazing. I have started... Yes, there you can read about me. There are so many pictures. I have started a web shop, but unfortunately, it's not possible for me to ship to the States. We can ship to all over Europe. But if you go to my web shop, klausdalby.dk, there's many chapters about my garden and also about all the rooms. And this is translated in English if people are a bit curious to hear more about me. So yes, they can do that.
How did you get into gardening, Klaus?
It was because I'm sure you know the story that I'm a publisher. I'm running a publishing company, and for about we have bought the house here 27 years ago, and there was just a lawn. And then I was always looking for people who could write books, and I have seen an article in a magazine from a beautiful garden in the north of Jutland, and I could see it was something special. And I contacted the owners. She was an amazing flower painter, Anne Just, and asked her if she would like to make a book. And I didn't know that I could be interested in gardening, but I went to her place, and when I saw her place, I was just amazed. And we were getting each other's best friends, and very sadly, Anne passed away for 14 years ago, but she had the most amazing garden in the north of the country. And for a few months ago, her husband passed away, but the garden is still there, and the garden is still open to the public. And because she was a painter, I could see how she was also painting painting the borders. And I can't paint, but I say that the garden is my canvas. And then it just started, and yes, it's 27 years ago now.
Well, and once you become an obsessed gardener, it's pretty hard to shake it, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. That's right. And for me, there's so many opportunities. Today, I would say that the design with all the rooms, they are I don't think I will change that much, because I don't want to move the hedges and things. But with the plantings, you can always have newer ideas, and you can just move them around, and it's such a treat.
Yeah, and the other thing that's important to point out is you also really practice some restraint in the different types of containers that you use.
Yes,
yeah.
It's almost clay, and I'm also using wood and metal, and I just love patina. And I think, to me, it's quite important that I have a variation, that they are not too similar, and you can see also here, and that they have the patina. And I don't like pots who is too glamorous. And I think that it's the plants and blooms who needs to have the main role. But yes, also when I've choose vases. Do you say vases or vases?
Vases or vases, yeah.
Vases or vases. I use them for if I would like to make a bouquet. Very often I'm first choosing the vase, and after that I'm making the bouquet. And but I have so many great pots, and I really like when they have patina.
Well, and you talk about the importance of patina. And
yes.
Yeah, that the mossy layering on the outside of a pot just makes me swoon. I just
And this is greenhouse number 2 where I'm sitting now, and this is also what I call my greenhouse studio, where I have it's also a great place here. Oh, yes. Here we see there's maybe one video from my garden. Oh,
yes,
I can see
yes. Here. Took us a little while to figure it out.
Oh, Stuart is just amazing.
Stuart is amazing. I can't do any of it. He's behind the scenes. And look at how kind you are to share your garden with so many others.
No. Yes, but I need to tell you that my garden is not really open to the public. I know also that you have a club. I have a club called Claus Dalby's Garden Club. And here the visitors are telling how much it means to them to see my garden. But when you are a member of my garden club, you have the opportunity to visit my garden in May or in July or in August. I never take groups, and I don't have the time. And you, of course, you also know that it's if you have an arrangement where you're welcoming guests, it needs to look nice and tidy. And yes, it's yes.
Claus, do you entertain quite a bit? Do you have time to entertain?
To entertain, what do you mean?
have others over for guests to eat outside.
Yes, of course, of
Yeah,
course, of
out
course, of
restaurant
course. And
night.
it's also such a pleasure. I just love to see friends. I have, yes, of course. But you know, also because I have my television programs and many people here in Denmark know me. They're also a bit curious to come and see the place. So I don't want just to open the gates. And maybe it sounds stupid, but this is my private place, and therefore I just love to share it on the social medias and make the films on YouTube. I could have groups every weekend here. What about you? Do you open your garden for the public?
I do. I have, but like you, it's not, it's not a public garden like Helen Dillon's used to be open and you could go pretty much at any time if you made an appointment. Mine is not like that. I have been on a million garden tours, usually for a horticultural society or, breast cancer research for a good cause, or things of that nature. And periodically I will have smaller garden tours. Because I live in the middle of the city, very close to downtown, I get lots and lots of drive-by traffic. And I live in an older neighborhood with beautiful homes that just naturally gets lots of traffic. And so I'll be working out in the yard and people are always driving by and saying hello, and they may be in town and just want to drive by and see the outside of the house. And
Linda, you are a star.
No,
they will go and see Michael Jackson's home, and then they will go and see Linda Vater's home, and yes, that's beautiful.
I would not go that far, but I will tell you, my friend, that if I were over there, I would be stalking your beautiful home. And one day,
yes, and when you come, friends are always welcome. Then you can just come here and stay, and yes, you know that you are more than welcome. But normally the gates outside they are locked.
Well, I'll call first.
Yes, please do. You can just call me and say, now I'm outside the gate, it's Linda.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I'll give you a little more warning than that. But you are so gracious and so generous in the knowledge that you share, and you have just such style and such elegance and such class. And
you're so kind. Yes, thank you.
And I am very envious. Probably not. I'm sorry. I'm talking with Stuart about some issues. But I do know, and we both need to share. It's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yes.
To put up all.
But I think first of all, we do it because we need it. It's amazing, and I think it's such a pleasure to show the garden to the world, because it's really the world. It's amazing. Yes. When you have posted in few seconds, you're getting comments from all over the world.
I know, and it's such a gift. It is just such a gift that you're putting out there, that really all of the gardeners on these different social media platforms, it's such a gift that they put out, because there's a lot of bad news in the world out there right now. So it's so lovely to be able to just pick up your phone or whatever and look at one of your beautiful flower arrangements, or just something that's in bloom. Your dahlias are getting ready. I'm so envious of your dahlias. And it's just, it can just help take the edge off a little bit. And
yes, but I would also say it's I'm not very technical, and when we have talked about this live chat, I thought it was on Instagram, but I can see it's great here is that you can show the pictures, because on Instagram it's also okay, but there you can just talk, and I would love later in the season to invite you to my YouTube channel and talk about your book. But I think please show your book, because I know that also some of my followers.
I'm always happy to show my book. And you know what, Klaus? We should also point out that you and I both wrote little messages
book, yes,
on the back of each other's books, which makes me feel that much closer to you.
Yes.
But they came out. Yes, they came out at the same time.
In this almost the same format, the same size, the same numbers of pages, and it's just amazing.
Yes, and we share so much. Even though we garden in such different climates, I think we share so much in aesthetically. I think.
Yes, I think so. Yes, I think so too.
Very much in common. Well, Stuart, Klaus wants you to know that if you want to do something like this on your channel or with anyone else, he will make himself available to you to help you with all of the arrangements and all of the setups. It's a little bit more complicated.
Okay.
But it's not bad, but he's got it figured out. He's a technical guru.
How long time have you been working with Stuart?
Stuart and I, gosh, how long? 5 or 6 years. And there's a company, there's a magazine called Southern Living Magazine that I have worked with and been in a number of times. And then there's something called the Southern Living Plant Collection. And they contacted me about being a spokesperson for them and producing content and media. And so Stuart and I got to know each other then when we were producing media for them. And I do some TV like you do. And so we hit it off. And we started, and actually, you know what, Klaus? It was because my Instagram account got hacked.
Okay.
It got hacked years ago, and it took a long time for me to get it back. So I hope you have on two-factor authentication.
Yes, I have. I have.
And it got hacked, and so I had to go to a different platform for a while, and I went to YouTube, and your friend and mine, Laura, at Garden Answer, helped me out there, and I got on to YouTube, and then YouTube just blew up. And it is just such a lovely community of people. And it just, because it's so, isn't it? It's like you say, it's all about connection. And
it's about connection. It's just amazing that we are sitting here, and of course I know you and I have followed you, but it was also because of Laura have made it was not this New Year, but last New Year, where she had asked different gardeners to tell a little bit about plants, and I also saw you and other friends, and yes, I think it's just amazing with the social medias, and yes, I would love to make a chat with you, but also now you need to tell me how I can share this conversation on my channel. But we can.
Afterwards, this will be a YouTube that is permanent. It's being we're pretty sure it's being recorded, and Stuart will send you a link, and you may share it wherever you like. And put the link wherever you can share it on Instagram. People can just go to that link. And that's why I wanted to do it here on this channel. So
that's fine.
So that we could have kind of evergreen content for the two of us. And I you know what? I think we need to do this again as we go into the holidays.
Yes, but we need to do it. Yes, then we need to do it the other way around. That you're talking about your holiday, and yes, but we will definitely be in touch, and it has been such a pleasure.
Well, now that you know Stuart will be in touch with you, and he'll get you whatever links and whatever assistance you need, because we're gardeners. We're not IT people.
No. When it was first, I have shared your story, and I haven't seen that there was a YouTube sign on it, and then but I think it's also I'm also quite. Oh, hello. Yes.
Sure, say hello.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's amazing. Such a pleasure to meet you.
Hi and bye.
And
stupid.
Klaus,
Stuart,
this forum that we're using, this program that we're using, I think it has all sorts of capabilities
yes,
that we're just tapping into.
yes.
So I think we could really do some magnificent things.
Yes, and also I think also in the winter time, it's nice because then we could say, what shall we talk about today? Because I didn't know that you will show these pictures. We will definitely be in touch. We can make a weekly show.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. And some of your winter projects, the way you create hygge inspired just arrangements, it's just wonderful. And don't you do workshops sometimes? Or
No, I do it. No, I did. I don't. I have had television programs here in Scandinavia telling about my Christmas and things. No, I don't do workshops.
I thought I'd seen maybe you do some online things, but I could.
Yes, but I also will when with my web shop. I don't know if you have been on my web shop and seen the stuff I'm offering there. I'm working. We have some live sendings with an amazing florist I know, showing how you can make the things, because I'm just an amateur, and but I know people who are much clever than I. They're much better than I. But yes, I can make a bouquet, and I just love to put the flowers together.
And the things you do just with natural organic ingredients, with moss and lichens and bark and twigs.
Do you use that in the States? Do you?
I have to say, I don't pat myself on the back about many things, but yes, I do, and I think I have kind of helped popularize that just a little bit.
Yes, I think so.
I just absolutely foraging is one of my favorite things to do.
Yes.
Foraging and figuring out ways to bring the outdoors in is just, I think, just crucial to our mental well-being.
Yes.
And it's just is so intrinsically beautiful.
Yes, it's amazing.
Well, you know what? Let's get together. And I have to tell you, I don't get on your web shop too much. And you know why? Because I can't get your stuff here in the States.
No, you're right. And I don't know how it will be in the future. There's so many restrictions. I think also that you also have your beautiful products, and I don't know if you're getting answers from Europe. And what do you do if you can send?
I don't. I'm like you. I've got the same restrictions, and especially now with supply issues, we do what we can. And we just have to work with what we've got. But I would love to set up something regularly with you, Klaus.
Yes.
I think this could just be a wonderful collaboration.
Yes, it's amazing. And then we could do it both ways. I'm also curious to hear about you and your beautiful home and all the things you do. So let's talk about that behind the screen.
That's definitely. And you know what? I'm going to throw this out there to all of the people that are participating. Oh yeah, somebody said yes, a weekly show, please.
Oh, I can't see the comments.
Yeah, we've got all sorts of. Yeah, Klaus has an amazing vase collection. Klaus is wonderfully generous. Yeah, there are some. Anita says you are no amateur.
No, but okay.
You are so beloved, Klaus.
Thank you.
So such an amazing person. But I'm going to throw this out there to all of you watching it on live. Please give us your ideas of what kind of stuff you would like Klaus and I, what kind of content you would like us to generate.
Yes.
And because we're here to share. And so give us your feedback, let us know, and then Stuart and I will share your feedback with Klaus, and we'll put something together. And
I would also say, Linda, I because I didn't know about how to do this, so I could probably also have told my followers on YouTube that we will do that, but I will try to learn about this. So next time we will meet here, I will of course also tell about this on my channel, but it's just because I don't know so much about the technical things.
Well, I know nothing about it, but that's why we both.
It's-
that's why we
it's-
both have Stuart.
Is Stuart filming you when you make your videos?
Yes. Stuart
Yes.
does all of the videography, because we put out 4 YouTube videos a week.
4.
4 every week. And I do a little short on YouTube every day called Today in the Garden, just little tiny snippets of what's going on. And then pretty soon some of that will come inside, because it's about, my channel is as much about garden inspired living as it is just about the garden. So it's kind of broadened a little bit, but we talk about styling and thrifting and
Yes, I know. I have seen a lot of your programs, of course, but I didn't know that you're making 4 per week. But also the problem for me is that I'm much better in Danish than in English, and I also need to think about what I'm saying and what I'm not very good in English. But I hope that you understand.
I'm non-existent in Danish, my friend.
No. So that's. But let's definitely talking about this, and I have also I also have promised you to make a little film from the garden which you can show, and I would just love that, but I have been so busy with traveling and around and so many projects, because I also have my publishing company and almost writing 1 book per year, and some years 2 books. So
you don't have enough to do. You don't have
no, but you can be so sure that I would just love to show around and send you a little film.
This has been an absolute delight, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much, and let's keep in touch. And thank you to the viewers. And I will go and see some of the comments of your channel, and I will of course share it when you tell me how to do that.
No, we will share all of the behind the scenes magic with you. And if you don't understand something, you just ask Stuart. Don't ask me.
Yes, please do. Okay. Thank you to you both.
Love you. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.